What other resources and programs are you currently involved in that aid in the prevention of LODDs and near misses? And I was hoping you could speak a little bit about your Pass It On series and your monthly articles in our industry's major publications.
Yeah, so I do occasional work for fire engineering. I'll do editorial work for them and stuff. Firehouse Magazine, I do close calls column. Fire Rescue One, I've got two things going on there. Two columns. One is What's Your Problem, which is a video thing where people write in with problems and I give them my opinion. It's just what I think. It's so funny. I had city managers fire me years ago for my opinion, and now people pay for it. It's kind of weird. And then, so I do that kind of stuff. And what I do is, that's all I really do is offer my opinion based upon fact and information that I have. So the Pass It On series. So we could chat about that because that was really cool. I'm very lucky. I'm blessed. Karma's been good, whatever words you want to call it. And primarily because of my family. I've got an amazing family, but career-wise, I've been asked many times to write some books, and I just didn't think you need another book to how to stretch a hand line. If you haven't figured that out by now, right? Or you need another book on command. Well, there's like 8 of them. So pick what works for you. So I thought to myself, and it really was in my mind for a while, what's the best I can do as far as doing a book? And so I'm on an airplane back when we could fly and I was reading Esquire magazine, and every month in Esquire magazine, they have a column called What I Know. And it really clicked. I was like, wow. And what they do, they invite various well-known people, Hollywood famous people, presidents, all that. And they invite them and they give them a full page to answer questions so they can then share their knowledge of life. And that's called What I Know. So that, bam, I hit that. I said, this is what we're going to do. Well, there was never any question I wanted it published by Fire Engineering. I've got some friends who are in the professional publishing business outside the fire service, but I really wanted it to be published through them and because they understand our business and our culture and our what's the word I'm looking for? The people in our business. We'll just leave it at that. I reached out and I said, hey, I got this idea. And I listed it and they went nuts. They absolutely loved it. And it made me happy because I told them, I ain't writing this book. Harry Carter, who's a dear old friend, Harry said, this is the best book that I ever saw where you got all your friends to write it for you. And that's exactly what I did. All I did was write a few chapters, sticking my opinions and stuff in there. And I'd have reached out to about 100 people for each book. And I said, hey, I got this idea. I'm not making a nickel on this. You're not going to make a nickel on this. We're going to donate. At that point, it was just the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. And I believe the Chief Ray Downey Scholarship. And then we added the Firefighter Cancer Support Network as a third after the second and third book. But I reached out to all these people. Literally everybody said yes. Everybody said yes, which I didn't count on because that means I had to move a few around, right? But they and what I bring to the table is I know a lot of people. My black book or Rolodex or whatever you want to call it. I've been lucky. I can call the U.S. Fire Administrator. I can call this one. I call the chief of this fire department. So I've gotten to know all these people. So these are people that I'm lucky to know, but the firefighter in the street doesn't get to know these people. So that was the intent behind this, was to make it where these people could hear from Ray Downey's sons, who could hear from Dennis O'Neill, who could hear from John Salka, who could hear from so many, like 180 people between the 3 books. And it was a home run. And the process was a lot of fun, a lot of work, because, here's a little secret. I didn't read anything they wrote until the book was published. So I never read because I was afraid that I would disagree with some of the shit they were saying. And I didn't want to interfere with that. I wanted to give them an open opportunity. I mean, there's people in this book that I don't necessarily agree tactically with what they're preaching, but the idea was to hear a lot of everybody. So then you see what works best for your community or for you as a fire officer, something like that. So that's kind of one of the things. Did you edit all this? Not me. I had a friend of mine, Amy Tippett and Molly Pegram, did the editing as far as the, making sure it was right as far as words and English. But as far as reading it and editing it, absolutely. And I told them that from the beginning. I'm not going to read what you write. What I also did at the beginning of each chapter is I did an introduction to each of them. And some of those introductions are pretty lengthy, but it never tied into what they were going to talk about. It was just my opinion and my knowledge of this person as a friend, as a peer, or whatever. So it was really a lot of fun. And we've done 3 of them. We just this past spring released Pass It On 3. The subtitle is Making Good Progress. We really didn't have a kickoff because there was no FDIC, but the book is available. We'll do a little bit more of a formal kickoff at FDIC this coming year, hopefully. And we have a book signing every year. We'll get probably a half to 2/3 of the authors will show up, and we'll have 40 people in a row. And you go right down the row with your book and they sign it. It's a lot of fun. But I'm very
Yeah,
proud of the
that
books.
sounds
And
cool.
well, and because of so many people we hear from, that these books have made a big difference to them. And again, no money to be made. And that makes it even better. We raise a little money for these groups. We've raised tens of thousands of dollars for these groups. We've done pretty well.
That's quite a comprehensive collection of people too. I mean, there's probably not anything that really exists like that out there. So very cool.